Well, today Eric and I have the true privilege of remembering so many who give so much on this Memorial Day weekend, and we really do feel privileged as we honor members of the military, not only who are serving right now, but those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Men and women alike, putting on the uniform in a show of patriotism to keep the rest of us safe and free. And how about the women? There's a new book that sheds light for the very first time on what life is like for a female officer who's risen through the ranks and served in Iraq. It's titled Hesitation Kills, a female Marine officer's combat experience in Iraq. Joining me now, the author, Marine Corps Reservist, Major Jane Blair. Jane, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Anyone that's watching that knows me knows how much I love our troops and love learning about our troops, but you offer a perspective in your book that had never been really put to paper before. Why did you do it?
Well, thank you for that question. You know, it's actually very humbling to present that because I had a lot of reservations about writing the book. I wanted people to know that I'm writing this book for the Marines out there and for the soldiers who have served and for the military as a whole, and that I was inspired by the stories of my fellow Marines in combat, and I felt that it needed to be said, that it needed to be documented, everything that we had gone through the initial stages of combat in Iraq, and to tell these stories from their perspective.
Why did you become a Marine? And I know you're married to a Marine.
I am, yes. Well, you know, I had been living a pretty cushy life working in a Fortune 500 company, and I felt I had to do something, you know, that wasn't just for myself, that was less selfish. And I thought that, you know, the ultimate way I could pay respects to the country was to do service to my country as a Marine.
And you didn't exactly have a desk job. You were in combat. You had some really rough experiences. What was that like for you? And is it any different for a woman than it is for a man?
Great questions. When I first went to Iraq and Kuwait, there were some hesitations about whether we were going to actually go to Iraq because of the unit I was in. And I had mentally had to think about the idea of whether I was prepared to serve in a combat role, because I hadn't expected that as a female. You know, we were told that we wouldn't be put in that position. But, you know, the women that served with me and myself alike, we did our job and what was expected of us, and we carried through the mission. And I didn't see much of a difference between the men and the women who carried out the role. We just did the job that was expected of us.
Speaking of carrying, you say that women can carry as much equipment, while men may have better upper body strength, some men. Women have different metabolism that might give them better endurance in some cases. Are there some advantages to having women on the front line?
I do think so. You know, Congress has deemed right now that it's not the time for women to serve in these combat roles, and as a military member, I respect that. I think the military is going to look for the right opportunity when women can enter these roles, if they think that's appropriate. From a personal perspective, I think there are roles that women can play on the front lines that are critical, whether as interpreters or have a cultural type of reference, or even as frontline troops. I do think as long as a woman is as physically qualified as a man, that she should be given that opportunity. I don't believe in a blanket policy that just automatically allows women to serve an equal opportunity type of role.
Did you enjoy your experience?
I did tremendously. You know, honestly, joining the Marine Corps was the best decision I made in my life. Maybe apart from marrying my husband, but yes, I think men should join the military because it's going to give them an opportunity for this leadership experience.
And you are a leader, and you have written such an interesting book, Hesitation Kills. Really, it's the first time I have read such an exorbitant amount of information about what it's like to be a woman, Marine no less. Thank you, Jane, very much for being here on this Memorial Day.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
We appreciate it so much. Eric?
Jane, wonderful to see you, especially on this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Well, rising waters along the Missouri River are now threatening communities.